details released from a chilling torture murder case in Chemung County. The victim, Juan Jose Gotay, was just 38 when he was kidnapped, tortured, mutilated, and left to die in rural Pennsylvania. The district attorney confirming today that Gotay was from the New York City area. It's unclear why Gotay was here in the southern tier and what
Hello, and welcome to Crime Time with the Easy E. Yes, the King, where we turn criminals into the roaches that they are, and then stomp on them. Or make them disappear. Shit. Okay. Now, awkward pause, as I try to recover and pretend that didn't happen. Anywho, man pleads to grisly torture and murder of victim who was shot, burned, beaten, and stabbed in both eyes. A 19-year-old man from Pennsylvania admitted to his role this week in the gruesome torture and killing of a 38-year-old man in New York who was shot, burned, beaten, and stabbed in the eyes before being killed. Malik Weems, of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, appeared in Chemung County Court on Friday, where he pleaded guilty to one count of second-degree murder in the 2021 slaying of Juan Jose Gotay. In addition to Gotay's murder, Weems reportedly pleaded guilty to one count of first-degree kidnapping in a separate case in April 2021. Weems was arrested 2 years ago, and 3 others were allegedly involved in Gotay's death. Thomas Boviard, Eddie Mart, and a boy who authorities said was 16 at the time of the murder. Authorities have not released his name, but the 3 remaining defendants have pleaded not guilty to the charges in Gotay's murder. Authorities said Gotay's injuries before his death amounted to a clear-cut case of torture. He was shot in the shoulder and leg, stuck in his eyes by a pointed instrument, suffered burns to his ears and buttocks, suffered mutilation to his tongue, was kicked and beaten, and suffered broken ribs and fingers. The kidnappers brought him still alive to Potter County, Pennsylvania, where he was found dead and bound by an electrical cord along Route 6 on April 2021. The kidnapping reportedly took place in late January 2021. Weems, Mart, and Boviard were initially indicted in New York for charges including first-degree murder, first-degree kidnapping, and first-degree assault. Weems and Mart were also charged separately for allegedly kidnapping a man named Joseph Waters in April 2021 and holding him for 12 hours to bilk ransom money during a home invasion. The 26-year-old Mart pleaded guilty in December in Ontario County to charges of burglary, robbery, kidnapping, criminal possession of a controlled substance, and multiple weapons charges in connection with the crime involving Joseph Waters. Ontario County Judge Brian Dennis in February sentenced him to 15 years in prison. He is serving his sentence at the Attica Correctional Facility in Wyoming County, New York. Weems is scheduled to appear in court again on July 14 for his sentencing hearing. He faces a maximum sentence of life in prison. Check out these videos.
New details released from a chilling torture murder case in Chemung County. The victim, Juan Jose Gotay, was just 38 when he was kidnapped, tortured, mutilated, and left to die in rural Pennsylvania. The district attorney confirming today that Gotay was from the New York City area. It's unclear why Gotay was here in the southern tier and what relation he had to his kidnappers. An indictment released on Tuesday charged 21-year-old Thomas Boviard of Horseheads in Gotay's kidnapping and murder. The indictment unveiling that Boviard was assisted by an undisclosed number of accomplices. Gotay's body was found across state lines in Pennsylvania, bound by an electrical cord nearly 4 months after he was kidnapped. The indictment says that Gotay suffered gruesome injuries, including multiple gunshot wounds, burns that caused disfigurements to his body, mutilations to his eyes and tongue, and multiple broken bones. The court documents also say Gotay was still alive when he was left to die along the road in Pennsylvania. More details are expected to be released on this disturbing case in the coming days, and more arrests are possible.
We begin tonight with breaking news. 2 more men have been indicted in connection to the kidnapping, torture, and murder of Juan Jose Gotay, that man from New York City. Now, all this happened in Elmira 18-year-old Malik Meaves of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and 25-year-old Eddie Marte of downstate New York were both charged with first-degree murder, 4 counts of kidnapping, and 3 counts of assault. Prosecutors say they helped 21-year-old Thomas bbed of Horseheads brutally torture and murder Gauthier before dumping his body in rural Pennsylvania. As WENY News reported, bbed was arrested and charged just last week. Gauthier's murder is connected to the May investigation that was happening in Elmira at 2 separate homes, one on Partridge Street, the other on West Ave. According to the indictment, Weems and Marte were also charged with allegedly kidnapping another person. Currently, Marte and Weems are both in the Ontario County, New York jail after being arrested in connection with a violent home invasion that happened in Geneva back in April. It's currently unclear if the home invasion and the kidnapping and the murder are all connected.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for WENY News at 5:30. I'm Renata Steele. We begin with an update on a story surrounding the brutal torture and murder of a New York City man that happened in Elmira. Police now arresting a 4th person in connection to the case. According to the New York State Police blotter, a 17-year-old was arrested in Georgia. His name is not yet released. He's charged with 4 counts of assault, 1 count of second-degree murder, and 1 count of kidnapping. Now, 3 other men have also been arrested in connection with this case. They're 25-year-old Eddie Marte from New York City, 18-year-old Malik Weems from Pittsburgh, and 21-year-old Thomas bbed from Horseheads. All 4 are accused of kidnapping 38-year-old Juan Jose Gauthier and torturing and dismembering him before dumping his body in rural Pennsylvania. The murder happened back in January, but just this past May, police centered the investigation around 2 homes at Elmira, the ones that are on your screen. Those houses are on West Avenue and Partridge Street. Now, police have not yet released any possible motives or much information at all.
We begin tonight with continuing coverage of the grisly murder/kidnapping case out of Chemung County this evening. Now, authorities answering some questions about the crime that led to the arrest of 4 people.
It's a brutal crime spanning across state lines, with one of the suspects from as far away as Georgia.
There was no missing persons investigation initially commenced. It wasn't until events transpired in April that prompted the police to start exchanging information.
Information is coming together regarding the January murder of Juan Jose Gauthier of New York City. District Attorney Wayne Wetmore alleging Gauthier was brutally beaten, mutilated, and shot in Elmira before being left to die in Coudersport, Pennsylvania. His body wasn't found until April, and an investigation in the months following has resulted in the indictment of 4 people, including a teenager from as far away as Georgia.
Did someone direct them? Did someone lead them? Did someone encourage them? That's going to have to wait until the time of trial. But they're all acting in concert with respect to this case.
There have been 5 murders so far in the city of Elmira this year. Police Chief Anthony Alvarez says the community can go a long way in helping these crimes be solved and potentially helping prevent others in the future.
We need the community to do what's pretty much awkward and at times scary, and that's coming forward and helping us with the information that we need, and then following through and helping the DA's office with the testimony later down the road.
DA Wetmore says thousands of hours of police work from multiple agencies has been completed, and the investigation into Gauthier's murder is still ongoing.
The disfigurement and murder case in Chemung County is due to appear in court on Friday. Eddie Marte was originally scheduled to appear in court for pretrial motions last month, but his appearance was postponed until December 3rd. Marte was indicted by the Chemung County Grand Jury in September for allegedly kidnapping, torturing, disfiguring, and murdering Juan Jose. 3 others have been arrested, including 2 teens, one of whom is a minor.
New developments taking place in last year's Chemung County murder-torture case. Thomas bbed, the first of 4 men to be arrested for the kidnapping, torture, disfigurement, and murder of Juan Jose Gauthier over a year ago, had his case adjourned for 45 days. According to the Executive Assistant District Attorney for Chemung County, the adjournment will give the defense time to review the evidence against bbed, and it will allow time to see if a plea deal can be reached in the case.
Today marks 1 year since the first accusations in a connection to a Chemung County torture murder case leading to the death of a New York City man.
But 1 year later, where does that case stand?
The allegations against Thomas Bovaird, Eddie Marte, Malik Weems, and an unnamed 17-year-old claim that in late January 2021, they kidnapped a man from New York City and tortured him in Chemung County. The Chemung County District Attorney's Office later confirmed that the 4 men knew their victim, 38-year-old Juan Jose Gotay. The indictments claim that the 4 beat, disfigured, and mutilated Gotay, shot him in the leg and shoulder, broke multiple bones, burned him, stabbed him in the eye, and tied him up with an electrical cord. Gotay was then left to die in a rural area of Potter County, PA. Gotay's body was found in early April 2021. Later that month, Marte and Weems were involved in 2 separate kidnapping cases according to their indictments, one in Chemung County and one in Geneva. In May, police were seen combing through 2 homes on Elmira's south side, but at the time it was unknown that the body found in Potter County and the houses in Elmira were related. It wasn't until September 14, 2021 that the dots were connected, the DA's office releasing an indictment against Bovaird and confirming the raids on Partridge Street and West Ave were tied to Gotay's murder. Less than a week later, Weems and Marte were indicted, and 1 week after that, the 17-year-old, who was only 16 at the time of the kidnapping, was arrested in Georgia. Since then, Bovaird, Weems, and Marte have appeared in court multiple times, but there have been few new details on the case. The home on Partridge Street was boarded up last fall and recently sold in the Chemung County property tax foreclosure auction. The DA's office told 18 News in August that Bovaird, Weems, and Marte are scheduled to appear in court again this month.
And as Carl just mentioned, those involved in that case are expected in court later this month. Thomas Bovaird is expected to stand before a judge again this Friday, while Malik Weems will be in court on September 23rd, and Eddie Marte is scheduled for September 30th.
One of the suspects in the Chemung County torture murder case has now pleaded guilty. Good evening, Twin Tiers. I'm Jackie Gillis. Thanks for joining us for 18 News at 5. Our 18 News reporter Nick Dabina has been following this breaking news and joins us live from the Chemung County Courthouse with more. Nick, good evening.
Good evening, Jackie. Now, before we get into the details of this case, we do want to warn our viewers that some may find this case very disturbing. Now, Jackie, today, Malik Weems, one of the 4 men accused of taking part in the Chemung County torture murder case, took a plea deal. Weems pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and now faces 18 years to life in prison. He was facing life without parole on a first-degree murder charge. Now, this is all stemming from an incident in January of 2021, where Weems and the 3 other men are accused of kidnapping a man from New York City and torturing him here in Chemung County. The Chemung County District Attorney's Office later confirmed that the 4 men knew their victim, 38-year-old Juan Jose Gotay. The indictments claim that the 4 beat, disfigured, and mutilated Gotay, shot him in the leg and shoulder, broke multiple bones, burned him, stabbed him in the eye, and tied him up with an electrical cord. Gotay was then left to die in a rural area of Potter County, Pennsylvania.
We are glad that this is resolved in the way that it has today. We have still 3 other co-defendants yet to try in this case. Certainly, Mr. Weems, by taking this plea offer early on, has put himself in a better position, potentially as all the other 3 co-defendants. And hopefully this could bring some closure to the family as well for Juan Jose Gotay, the victim of the murder, and also the kidnapping victim. Maybe that gives him some closure.
Now, following the murder of Mr. Gotay, Weems and another suspect, Eddie Marte, were also involved in 2 separate kidnapping cases, according to their indictments, one in Chemung County and one in Geneva. Weems also pleading guilty to kidnapping in those other cases today as well. Now, sentencing for Malik Weems is scheduled for July 14th.
Please keep all involved in your prayers. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments below. And be nice, or a frog you will become. Damn it. If you like the video, like, subscribe, and hit that bell to receive notifications of when we upload a new video. Also check out our merch at seng1he.com.